Hey everyone, Couch Investor back to another video for today. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a company I've never covered on this channel before. It's a company out of China. It's one of the major competitors to Alibaba. If you know what I'm talking about Pinduoduo. Very, very popular company. We've talked a little bit about a product that they offer, they own, called Temu when we covered Alibaba's earnings report. If you missed that, it's going to be in the top right corner. But Pinduoduo also reported earnings this week. Now, management did say a couple of things that were pretty interesting and should be also positive for a company like Alibaba. Now, remember during the Alibaba report, we saw still some weakness a little bit in the Chinese market. And I said this is not just because of the current environment there, but it's also because of the highly competitive market, such as a competitor like Pinduoduo. Now, if you think that Pinduoduo is not such a big player, by the way, their shopping experience is more like a social shopping experience. If I buy something, I'm indirectly incentivized to tell my friends to buy the same thing, get coupons, reductions, stuff like that. Now, if you look at this picture right here, you can clearly see that Taobao, this is Alibaba's stuff, is still number one. If you look at number of monthly active users in millions, Pinduoduo is number two, JD.com is number three. So yes, Pinduoduo, a very, very big player in that market. Now I'll first touch on a couple of comments that management has written in their shareholder letter and a comment during the earnings call. So technology is the cornerstone of sustainable and inclusive growth that creates positive value for society. We will channel more resources to R&D as it is the key catalyst in driving efficiency and uncovering opportunities, such as Temu, which is still pretty small, all things considered right now. They didn't give us extra metrics, how many users, etc. just yet. They just said compared to the overall revenue, it's still very insignificant right now. Hopefully in the future, we might see some more metrics. They continue here, we are entering a new phase of development where we are fully committed to fostering high quality growth and further strengthening our ecosystem. We are launching a dedicated 10 billion ecosystem initiative to facilitate an environment where quality merchants can flourish. Patient investment is essential for us to promote ecosystem vibrancy and sustainability. We are still in the investment stage and we plan to step up our investment to further support quality growth. Now, they say this because if you compare the numbers from Pinduoduo to Alibaba, sales-wise, even free cash flow-wise, yes, there's still a very, very big difference in that size. We're going to have a look at the comparison in just a second. Last comment, and this was during the earnings call. So they say here, during the past quarter, we saw consumer sentiment continue to improve. We have seen a surge in demand across various categories, reflecting customers' eagerness to explore a wide range of products we offer. Again, this bodes well for every company in China, especially their competition as well. Now, the only thing is comparing every other company to one another and see who's actually gaining market share and who's actually struggling because of the competition here. In this case, Pinduoduo is certainly gaining market share, as you will see in just a bit. If you're enjoying this type of video so far, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, would really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Now, if we want to have a look at the comparison here, so orange is obviously Alibaba, blue is Pinduoduo. So if you look at revenue, of course, Alibaba's revenue is much more than Pinduoduo's, but if you look at the chart, you can see that Pinduoduo has increased in the last couple of quarters, quite a lot, last couple of years actually, quite a lot. If you look at free cash flow, yes, Alibaba, we've talked about this before, free cash flow policy, I think last quarter was 4 or 5 billion or so, the quarter before 11, something like that. The real numbers will pop up on the screen. Then Pinduoduo, also free cash flow positive, but much less. But if you look at Pinduoduo's return on equity, here it's much better, 36% compared to 6% for Alibaba. We know that Alibaba right now is starting again with the core profitability of their model. But if you also look at gross profit margin, Pinduoduo 75% compared to a 36% of Alibaba. Then if you look at valuation-wise, both of them aren't that expensive. Price to earnings to growth ratio in the next 12 months, Alibaba 1.7, Pinduoduo 1.16. So one might say, pretty interesting opportunity here. Of course, as always, there is the China risk attached to it. So automatically there is a discount. Now, before I jump into Pinduoduo's report, this is a small reminder. Total China commerce for Alibaba was down 3%. Overall revenue for Alibaba was up just 2%. Of course, larger number here. And now if you look at Pinduoduo's revenue, this was $5.48 billion, an increase of 58%. Now, from those revenues, you have revenues from online marketing services and others. This came in at just under $4 billion, an increase of 50%. And then revenues from transaction services, $1.51 billion, an increase of 86%. So if you look at the year-over-year comparison here, really great growth from Pinduoduo. Now, total cost of revenue has also increased 55%. Operating expenses also increased 35%. And the majority of those expenses came from sales and marketing. They say are mainly due to the increased spending in promotion and advertising activities. So it remains to be seen how organic this growth will be in the future. Because if they have to spend a lot to have a lot of growth, how sustainable is this for the future? But of course, right now, still free cash flow positive. So that's already one plus. And you can see it right here. Operating profit in the quarter, $1 billion, an increase of 222% year over year. If you look at net income attributable to ordinary shareholder, that came in at $1.17 billion, an increase of 212% from the same quarter last year. Now, if we look at net cash generated from operating activities, that was $194.8 million compared to net cash used the last year. Now, cash equivalents were $22.9 billion, and with a market cap of just over $90 billion, safe to say that just over 20% of their market cap is in cash and cash equivalents. Pretty good. And then lastly, if we look at the graph, this is a comparison since the start of 2020. Pinduoduo is up 22.40%, while Alibaba stock is down 37.6%. Now, if we look purely at Pinduoduo on a weekly basis, we saw, of course, after they reported earnings, a huge green candle over the 50 and the 20-day moving average. RSI still neutral. MACD is still bearish though, but since that earnings report was pretty good, I expect this trend to continue upwards, and then maybe in the coming weeks, we might see a MACD in a more bullish environment. Of course, the overall market was pretty bullish this week. Remains to be seen what happens with the debt ceiling, remains to be seen what happens with interest rates. Still a lot of things to consider on a macro level. On a micro level, each and every company has already pretty much reported earnings. So you either got bad news or you either get good news. Then you have to make up your opinion and see what happens with the stock. Good news can go down, bad news can go up. That's just the way the market works. So that will be it for this video. Of course, since it's the first time I cover this company, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you own this type of company? Do you own both Alibaba and Pinduoduo? By the way, I know I compared both and there's maybe a more negative sentiment towards Alibaba in this video. None of that. I'm not having some negative sentiment towards Alibaba. You can see my video about Alibaba in top right corner, just comparing both. And right now, yes, one company maybe had a better quarter than the other. That's about it. Of course, share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.